Good morning. I wanted to get with you and get some information out to our clients and to anybody else that's interested on what's going on in the national market. And this information this month is very good. We took a month off. We did some condo updates, some investment updates, and felt like we didn't want to overkill it with videos with my little head or big head in a little box in the corner. So this is going to go over information from across the country and what we're seeing in the numbers. What's interesting is here in Athens, we've been seeing this for a few months, and what's happening here tends to mirror what's happening across the country. And that is a cooling, calming down of our market. Still significantly very strong, just less than it was in May, which is what we needed. So if you're willing to bear with me here for about 10 minutes, we're going to go over this information. It is very good. There's a reason we're putting it out there, and we want to give you as much education so you can make smart decisions. We're right here before the Vandy game. Let me back up, put my Bulldog in. So it's Friday morning, September 24th, and we will give you this information, I guess, starting now. So this is the pending home sales since 2020. And one of the things I want you to look at is right here in the pandemic, you can see shot down way down in the lockdown. Then we came roaring back up. And then in 2021, the pending home sales really went down. And that was because of supply. So right now we're at this point that we've seen a downtick, and this is basically ending in July, of the amount of properties under contract. And right here, this white line represents what is a healthy market. So we are significantly above that still, but we're seeing less listings over the end of the summer, and we've always seen a very historical slowdown in August. And let me back my head down here. So this is from the chief economist at First American. We're seeing some signs of a softening in the housing market. Context is very important here. And context is important everywhere. We have very little of that in our society right now. We run off in one direction and don't really look at things from a bigger perspective. We're very much in a seller's market, but we are experiencing the calming down is what I'm seeing. However, at the same time, this September, we've started to come back a little bit from August. This is the showing time monthly index. And what I want to show you here, showing time is it's an app and a tool that a lot of agents and companies use to kind of automate their showings. We don't use it. We still call our clients, but it's an indicator. As you can see, since January 2020, we're almost down to the amount of activity that was pre-pandemic when it got really, really high in May and April, even really June and July was still strong. It's just it's trended down, and we've seen that happen. This was the average in 2019. So, which 2019 in July was a heck of a good real estate market. So the activity is still well above that. But I'm going to skip this quote just because of time. I want to get to some more information here. This is a graph that shows you the percentages of homes selling over list price. And the sellers have gotten arrogant lately. I think everybody knows that because of what the market's done. July 2020, we were seeing almost 30% of the homes get over list price. Then in June, a year later, we saw one out of every two. And then in July, we were still seeing that one out of every two. And we're seeing that probably more around 40% right now. Pricing is very important. This is fantastic to get one out of every two homes, but if you overprice your house, this won't happen. So let's take a look. This is the numbers I probably want to spend the most time on because this is where the narrative gets told. So this is the amount of new monthly listing counts over the last several years. If you look at the top, you're going to notice white, blue, and gray. These represent 2017, 2018, and 2019. And this is the amount of listing inventory that came to market. It's crazy how each year almost mirrors each other with a few differences. Now, one thing you'll notice is in August, which is right here, every time the amount of listings goes down. Now, this gold bar was last year. We all remember the talk about the V. And as you look here in March, we locked down on March 20th, 25th, boom, down in April, come roaring back in May and June. And the other thing to note is that it still had a downtick from August to December. Meanwhile, there's a big gap between where this gold lies and the other normal markets. So we've been underserved by the amount of inventory. Therefore, if our demand is still where it is and even goes up, that's what's created the prices that we see today. And this is right now this year. This is what we want to really pay attention to is I know we're not a normal world right now. Lord knows if we ever will be, but we are dealing with what we're dealing with. And so how is our listings going to impact that? January, February, March, I had clients that were really struggling just to find something to go look at. But our inventory ticked up and it had continued to up until June, and now we're starting to level off. We finally got above that 2020 number. And from here, this is what's going to be the most important thing to note is we're seeing more activity in September and I anticipate more in October. So I think this green line is going to be a little different. It's going to drag out a little bit longer than we've seen before and stay above that gold bar. So I think we might see a more active fall than we've seen in years past. As a matter of fact, Danielle Hell from Realtor.com happens to agree with me. If these changing inventory dynamics continue, we could see a wave of real estate activity heading into the latter part of the year. So I totally agree with that. That's what we're seeing from my desk. I can feel it from my personal business, from the agents in our company bringing in earnest money, from our lot box activity. I've been seeing an uptick in the last 2 weeks, and I've also seen negotiating. How about that, right? Instead of just paying over the list price. So we got to talk about the elephant in the room that's been a big narrative that your buddy talks about or your friend when you go to have dinner with them or on your Zoom call about the market's going to crash, housing affordability. And then when you're a seller, of course, the narrative is, oh, you can get anything you want because your neighbor's the expert, not us, right? Had to fit in that joke. But we're going to talk about affordability because affordability has become unaffordable is going up and there's less affordable homes and it's something that our clients are experiencing, but we want to put that back into perspective like I said before because it's really not out of line with historical norms. It's just the narrative that we're talking about right now. So let's take a look at this. So right now, this is the monthly mortgage payment increasing. If you look back to June of 2020, average would be right over 1,000, which is a great mortgage payment, by the way. And now we're looking at about $200+ difference, which is a significant increase in a year. But I will tell you, $1,255 is still a pretty solid mortgage, especially when you look at rental market. And that's what we're going to do here in a minute. And the affordability is decreasing. There's no doubt about it. But we were really at a very high affordability. And I think that's something that we were not realizing at the time. So if you look at January, it's ticked way down to 146. And then we sit there and feel like, wow, that's such a significant drop. But let's back things into perspective. So we got housing affordability dating back to 1990. And as you can see, we're well above even 2006. Now, what happened in 2008? Well, we know what happened. We had the financial crisis, the mortgage crisis, the Great Recession, whatever you want to call it, the Great Bailout. But that created this influx of foreclosure homes and the affordability of homes went way up. So people were buying distressed homes and values went down. The other thing was a lot of home builders quit building, creating a supply problem we're dealing with today. But if you look at this, we're still, even though the affordability is going down, significantly above the past. And let's get my head out of here. Look at this number where this line is, and look how far above it is the past. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see it trend down here. We want to see it stay around here. And if we do that, we're going to be just fine. This is the other elephant in the room, rent going up. This is from 1988 all the way to now. If you look here just in the last 2 years, how much it's gone up. Inflation's a real thing. We're seeing it in real estate. We're seeing it because of low interest rates. We're seeing it in a gallon of milk caused by the pandemic and really just printing money. So the thing with rent that is frustrating is there are markets in our country where housing has gotten to be so unaffordable. Larger cities, I think of Washington, D.C., New York, Seattle, San Francisco, areas like that where the values of real estate far exceed what most people could even remotely come close to attaining. However, in our market, that is not the case. Now, while downtown Athens might have properties that are going to be very high, we have surrounding counties where homes are very affordable. We have to keep that in mind that, sometimes location is a driver. And when you have something at the 50-yard line, the ticket there is worth more to sit at the 50 than it is to sit at the 35. So the thing that frustrates me with rent is I don't want to see somebody get scared and stay out of the market because rent is just burnt money every month. It doesn't do anything. It's like putting gasoline in your car and then just driving around town all day. You have done nothing with that money. You're not helping yourself for the future. The percentage of income needed. This is shows you a graph of how things have changed to basically for a mortgage payment. Now, historical norms would probably put it above 20% percentage of income needed. And in January 2019, it was 16.2. We got really down 13.4, which was, fantastic. And now we're trending back up to that percentage of income, 17.1. That red makes you sit there and think this is a bad number, but we're talking about less than 20% of your money towards your mortgage payment. That's still very good. And let me back my head out here. The historical norm, yeah, just said it. It's above 20%. So while we're going up there, this is not a bad situation. We're still in a very fantastic time. And so I want to make sure we understand the perspective of things instead of the narrative that's being told between your text threads and your friends who do not work in this industry and don't see what we see. Um, I will basically, at the time we've sent here, I'm just going to go back because I don't really want to take too much of your time. So, what I do want you to understand, we're probably going to see more listings in the fall than we have before. So, if you're thinking about buying, don't think that you got to wait all the way till May. Might be an opportunity here at the end of the year with interest rates typically take a drop this time of year. The other thing is we have a lot of buyers that got so frustrated and they got out of the market. Well, feel free to reach out to us now because getting a plan in place, I can speak for our company here, but we've gotten some more tools and some more ways to help our buyer clients. There are ways that we can maybe help someone that hasn't bought before get qualified and maybe turn them into a cash buyer. There might be ways if you've got to sell a house and you're nervous to put that sign out, we can help you find a way to purchase and get situated and not have to put a bunch of two mortgages at risk. So there's plans that we can help you there. And always, just in the traditional sense, as we've always done, it's a good idea to get a plan. Hey, reach out to somebody here at the company. This is what I'm thinking about doing in February. Is there anything I should be doing now? Always taking a look at your credit's a smart idea and getting a plan in place. Always feel free. You can reach out to us. If you got a question about anything, just reach out to myself, one of our agents, 5mrealty.com. And have a great fall. Georgia plays Vandy tomorrow. Go Dogs. For those of you in Nashville, have a great trip. It's a good town. Uh, have a great weekend.